Hello and a very warm welcome to all. You're watching a special edition of News9 with me, Neha Bhan. Now, a new variety of scam that mixes sex and extortion is giving technology a sinister and sleazy spin. Joining me in the studio is my colleague Ghulam Jilani, the creative force behind the documentaries we are about to show you now. Now, as I mentioned, this is a scam that mixes sex and extortion and in fact is giving societies, giving technology rather, quite a sleazy spin. We'll get you caught up on this societal evil. My colleague Ghulam Jilani is with me in the studio. Ghulam, I'll come to you in a moment. Also with me are our special guests on the show, Ellen Rao, who's a former DCP from Delhi, Amit Dubey, who's an author, ethical hacker and cybercrime investigator. We also have Dr. Mantosh Kumar, who's Senior Consultant and Clinical Lead, Mental Health and Behavioral Sciences, Fortis Hospital, Gurugram. Gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you all. I'll come to all of you all in a moment. But before we delve into the issue at hand, let me share something that most of us are familiar with. Some through personal experience, while others through the experience of someone they know. Ladies and gentlemen, this device in my hand is a phone. Undoubtedly, it is a necessity, but it also comes with its shares of perils. Considering the prevalent scams we encounter on a day-to-day basis, one can only hope to avoid falling victim to any such fraudulent activities such as extortion. Take a look at Jilani's report first.
Hello baby, can we talk on a video call?
रात में एक मैसेज हाय का मैसेज आया, मैं एक्सेप्ट किया, हाय हेलो हुआ और जैसे मैंने ऑन किया तो उसके वीडियो पर न्यूड वीडियो आया और मैं घबरा के अगर ये वीडियो ये चाहे संदेश अगर सोशल मीडिया में जाती है कहीं भी जाती है तो मुझे सुसाइड करना ही पड़ेगा।
As the name suggests, it is made out of two words. One is sex, another is extortion. It becomes sextortion.
They hit you at your emotions.
In last 1 year, close to 150 plus police officers from UP, they were victimized.
बहुत बड़ी खबर, वीडियो कॉल से ब्लैकमेलिंग का बड़ा खुलासा हुआ है। मथुरा से खबर है जहां सेक्सटोर्शन गैंग के 4 लोग पकड़े गए। హైదరాబాద్ ముంబై జైపూర్ కేంద్రంగా ఈ గ్యాంగ్ కార్యకలాపాలు సాగిస్తున్నట్టుగా వీడియో కాల్ करके बनाते थे लोगों के अश्लील वीडियो।
Obviously, I do this for quick money. How do you think I can afford a iPhone Max Pro, a super costly handbag, and my own sedan? No big deal. I'll search social media, Facebook, Instagram, or in some cases, just use random numbers. In most cases, because of the kind of work we do actually, we know that they have a lot of money. I then send a friend request and wait for the other person to accept. The conversation starts generally with a hi. Later, the conversation shifts to WhatsApp, where actually the video calling happens.
India's 800 million internet users could rise to 1.5 billion by 2040. But there's a dark side to this. Blackmailers are duping people by posing as women on social media platforms and later sending them sexually explicit material. Fake videos trick victims into explicit video calls. Then comes the extortion threat.
Somebody will give you a video call. You pick up that call. On the other side, there will be some girl or some woman. That woman will be, doing all kind of activities. Like she'll be nude. And most of the cases, such kind of cases which we have found, there is actually no woman. The other side is also a video is playing. Along with that, when you pick up the call, your video also gets transmitted. And this whole thing, these people record. Once they record it, they start threatening the person. I have seen many people, getting extorted like this.
This extortion has become a very easy method to extort people. Everybody is on internet. They do lots of video calls and they do FaceTime and many other platform that has evolved during this time. Telegram, Signal, WhatsApp, everywhere. And just to give you some numbers, in last 1 year, close to 150 plus police officers from UP, they were victimized. They were targeted for sextortion. So I think that is something which we have just observed, and every day I think, as per the official report of Grah Mantralaya, they get more than 2,000 plus registered cases online.
One of the first victims of sextortion who I worked with was a pre-pandemic case of a very young child. I think he was barely 19. He was on the verge of committing suicide, and thankfully he actually thought that let me ask for help, and he got in touch. And I still remember, I don't think I am worthy of living. I've betrayed my parents' trust. I've done a sin. Sextortion as a scam has also evolved.
So to commit any cybercrime, they need at least two things: SIM card and bank account. Most of these bank accounts and SIM cards are anonymous. They are purchased or procured on those people's name. Those are not aware that there is a bank account on their name or a SIM card on their name. Most of them belong to villages or mazdoors, and so it becomes very difficult to reach out to the real people.
Because of social stigma, only 0.5% of sextortion crimes are reported to the police. These crimes are not even recorded under a separate category by the National Crime Records Bureau.
Even today, even nowadays, every day I get 2-3 calls where CEOs, senior people, retired people, they are targeted and they get scared. And especially the police officers, those are working somewhere and they get scared because there is a norm in police officer that you can't do such kind of thing. There's a legal provision. Because of that, you could be suspended.
A study by UK-based Sophos firm says sextortion messages led to losses of $500,000 in 2019 and 2020. India was identified as the source of about 4% of these messages. It was just behind Vietnam, Brazil, Argentina, and South Korea. A 2022 study by local circles says 42% Indians have fallen victims to online frauds in last 3 years. These include financial crimes as well as sextortion.
The problem is with the people who are not so much technology savvy. They just pick that call, and the activities on the other side, that nudity and that all that porn stuff that is going on, that gets recorded.
Jamtara in Jharkhand is infamous for cyber frauds across the country. But of late, police records say 70% of all cyber fraud cases across the country, including sextortion, are carried out by residents of Mewat, which is a region spread over Haryana, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh.
Of course, there are 5-6 new hubs. Those were created in last 1 year. New Alwar Mewat is very prominent. Everybody knows about it. It has, and most of these are border areas. So if you go and catch those criminals, if you're trying to arrest them, they normally move to other states, and it becomes very difficult because they need to follow all the processes to inform other states as well. So these criminals, they have become smart. They know how to hide their identity. They know how to hide their even current location. So I get IP addresses. I can trace their prospective locations. But as you know that they are very smart. They use VPNs nowadays. They use impersonated numbers. There are thousands and thousands of SIM cards are being sent from Odisha to Delhi to different places to do this cybercrime.
When we look at sextortion as a scam, it's purely based on opportunity. Putting in their heads that I'm going to spread it across, everybody is going to see your nude video, inducing that fear, getting the money out of it. It could happen with anyone. They hit you at your emotions, not in your reasoning and ability. Otherwise, in front of a random person, will we ever join a video call? Will we ever share anything? Not really. So the pressure that people have is very different. The society, the judgment, fear of will my parents understand? Will my friends believe me, trust me? These are things that really eat you up. And unfortunately, these wounds are not visible.
I've seen many people they think it'll be a social stigma, and what my wife would say, what my brother will say, what my father will say, this has happened. They should realize that they are not accused in this case. No, they are victim of this case. I'll suggest they should never pay on to it.
In India, we have a special law called the Information Technology Act 2000. If you see Section 66E, for example, this is a violation of privacy. In case there is a capturing of or recording of any of the pictures of videos without consent, in case of any sexually explicit content being published online, it will be covered under Section 67A of the IT Act. Again, it has a punishment of up to 3 years or more.
The next time you get a call from an unknown number, especially if it is a video call, think twice before accepting it. You might as well become the next sextortion victim.
Jilani, it's quite scary, isn't it? I mean, you've covered this extensively. You've done the story. I want to know from you, of course, it's quite self-explanatory when we speak about sextortion. As I mentioned, it's a mix of sex and extortion. But I want to know from you, what does it really mean in simple terms?
Okay, so Neha, as you rightly said, it's clubbing two words, sex and extortion. So it's basically people who are part of these gangs, they extort money from the victims by threatening them that their private images or videos will be leaked online. Not just leaked online, but shared with their family and friends, like the close family group, close friends group. So the point is that the modus operandi is simple. You get a random call, a random video call from a number on your phone, maybe on WhatsApp or any other video calling app. You pick up the call, and when you pick up the call, you realize on the other side of the phone, there's a woman who is apparently stripping or naked. And the moment you realize that you don't want to talk to it, you hang up. But by the time you hang up, it's already too late. Those few seconds that you are on the phone, on the call with the other person on the other side, these gangs, they record it on the video recording apps, and they send you in your text message, say, hey, we have your video proof that you were talking to a naked woman or a woman who was stripping while you were talking to her, and we might as well share it with your family, with your friends, or might as well leak it online.
I mean, it happened with one of my very close family members. I can understand, and I think the biggest factor, I'm sure you'd agree, is sharam, the sharam factor.
Yeah,
nahi bata sakte hain kisi aur ko.
So that is that signifies how rampant this is. Because of this stigma, because of this sharam, that people don't share it with it, and because of this stigma only, that people end up giving up money. Right? For example, if I am a victim and I get this, I fell prey of this scam, and then suddenly I get a call from somebody that we have a video that in which you are talking to a naked woman. So what happens in that, I would obviously try to hide it from my family, from my friends, and that's why I give up money. And it doesn't end by giving money in the first instance. You end up giving money again and again and again, and ultimately when you fell short of money, when you exhaust all the money that you have, you are depressed, you are upset, you are annoyed, and there are people, which the psychologist would obviously explain, there are people who are into depression because of these scams.
Absolutely. Well, of course, Gulam, as we have been discussing this for quite long, and we're also having a discussion in the newsrooms about it. I'll come back to you, but I now go around, and I in fact, my next question is for Mr. Ellen Rao. Mr. Rao, it's not only the common man, but even the cops, ministers who have been victimized by these cyber criminals. Why do you think people who should know better are falling prey to this?
Aneha, you are correct in that sense, because it's irrelevant. The cyber criminal who does this, he doesn't know whether the police officer is there or the common man is there. So he is using this practice several times, try and again. It's just their try and again method. And if they catch any of the victim by doing so, they start extorting from them. as you rightly said that your friends have been getting this video call. Exactly, at least 5 known to me people has given me this input that they have got this video and someone has clipped our photo with a naked woman and they are demanding money. But being a ex-police cop, then I got their number, then I called them that look, you are doing some all illegal things, and then I requested all those 5% to report to the cyber crime of that area so that these persons could be nabbed as soon as possible and other victims can be saved from their extortion racket. So it is irrelevant whether the police officer is there or the common man is there. They are just doing it for the sake of money, and so many people fell prey of all their techniques. And my sincere advice to everyone whosoever gets such type of video clip or a call or threat, they immediately should report to the cybercrime, irrespective of that saram wali baat ko chhodkar. Nobody will think, because everybody nowadays knows that this is a criminal, this is cyber criminals, they are doing all these things, and the person concerned has nothing to do with that woman or nothing to do with that sex racket. So, irrespective of their being, they should not hide anything. They should immediately report to the police. That will be giving two benefits out of it. One, he will be saved from the paying money, and the people will be caught. In any case, if there are so many complaints like this, that definitely police will be able to catch in one of the cases, because police is searching for the clues to apprehend these persons, because they are so clever. They have some numbers without any addresses, without verification. They have purchased some bank accounts also, which are not easy to catch. So their modus operandi is very unique. So this is second benefit, that as soon as the police gets the complaint about it and they investigate these things and they catch the hold of these gangsters, so that
Right.
these other people can be saved from being victim of this extortion.
Right. Do stay on with us, gentlemen. We now slip it out quick break. We'll be right back with lots more on the other side.
वर्ष 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल करेगा।
There is certainly a wall of capital coming into the clean tech, climate tech space, not just in India but across the world.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Welcome back for all of those who have just joined in. This is a News9 special edition. In this particular episode, we are having a discussion on sextortion, which is a mix of sex and extortion, and it has literally reached not every household, but quite a lot of them, if I have to say so. We are also joined by guests in our studio. I go now, in fact, to my next question is for Dr. Mantosh Kumar, who is a psychiatrist. Dr. Kumar, have you dealt with any such case? And if yes, what is the extent of the trauma is what I want to know from you.
So most of the time when anything of this incident happens, nobody comes forward immediately. What happens is they go through the trauma alone. They don't share it with anyone, including the family members, because a lot of shame is involved. Not just shame, there's a lot of guilt involved. And they fall in the trap of extortion. Once, like the fellow colleague mentioned here, that once the funds are exhausted, once everything is getting over from there, and when they feel that their resources are getting over, that is when the real panic symptoms start to happen. The person feels a lot more depressed, a lot more anxious. There's so much of guilt. They doubt themselves. They doubt people around them. So everything kind of escalates very rapidly. We have seen certain cases, definitely, where a person becomes a lot more withdrawn, a lot more anxious. The feelings of guilt and grief almost happens in the form of anger, resentment, distrust. Most of the times, people do reach out to the near ones And if they get a positive response, that is when they can reach out to a mental health professional if they want to seek some help. But unfortunately, there is so much stigma involved with sextortion, at the same time stigma with mental health, that both become a huge barrier in reaching out for help. But yes, there are certain cases. They meet the criteria of depressive disorder. They meet the criteria of anxiety disorder and panic disorder, and treatment is provided in the terms of therapeutic work is done. And sometimes medication is also required to help them overcome this depressive symptoms.
Mr. Dubey, I'd like to come to you on that note. You know, sextortion is one of the many cyber crimes that you've spoken about. We were discussing about it yesterday also, and then we had to cut the discussion short. But I want to know from you, how do these cyber criminals really operate?
Actually, this is a very organized racket. There are multiple parties those are involved in this, and they are supporting them continuously. Ideally, they need two basic things: a SIM card and a bank account. And both of these things are provided to them in large numbers. Thousands and thousands of SIM cards from different states actually transferred to these hotspots: Nu, Mewat, Alwar. Mewat is actually the key hotspot for sextortion, but other cyber crimes, basically there are 35 new hotspots, those are emerged now. And they are receiving SIM cards on anonymous entities and then bank accounts. And this is making them actually, they are empowered because of these equipments. And also the software. Recently, they were also receiving AI-based tools and cloning tools and creating videos. And so now the sextortion will go to the next level where anybody can create a video without receiving a video call. You may not be receiving a video call, you may not be doing any mistake. But despite of that, there will be some video which is created through AI tools using your profile pictures and some pictures available online. And they'll start asking money. So this will definitely go to that level. It is already happening in few pockets, but this is really scary, very, very dangerous. And especially I have received few complaints from university girls, and they complain that there are videos circulating around using their pictures and faces, and this is really scary. So this will now shape up into the new kind of crime. And there are, as I said, organizations which are supporting them to siphon this money to China and other countries. So whenever they extort this money reaches to their account, it goes out so fast. Within a day, the money reaches to different other countries, and it is very difficult to recover it. How do they do it? This is very, very technical. Sometimes they withdraw it through ATM. Sometimes they purchase Amazon gift card. Sometimes they purchase Apple gift card and Bitcoins as well, or gaming currencies. So these are the critical modus operandi or the tools and techniques that they are using right now to commit this.
Right. Do stay with us, gentlemen. Jilani, I want to know from you, how rampant is this? You know, what really is it that would you say is the key point from your documentary?
See, Neha, if you ask me to analyze how rampant is this malice, is this menace of, sextortion, there are two aspects to it. One is how many people come out and report it. Like the gentleman, the psychologist was saying, and you also said that not many people report these kind of crimes. If I quote a recent report, only 0.5% people who are the victims of sextortion gangs report it to the police. And another aspect is how much is in the records. So if you look at NCRB data, there is no separate category for sextortion. There is a category for exploitation, there is a category for sexual abuse, but sexual assault, sexual abuse, but there is no category for sextortion. So it comes in both the categories. You cannot actually say how many people were victims of sextortion in last year or last 2 years. But yes, if you look at the numbers as a whole, cyber crimes in 2022 compared to cyber crimes in 2023 across India have increased by 24%. Extortion in 2022 were just 2,800, and in 2023 the data which was released 2 weeks ago, it is 3,800. So it is increasing rampantly, so much so that almost every household, if not every other household, is affected by it. But again, I'll repeat, the only problem is that people don't come out and report about it. Number two is there is no separate category for it. And one important aspect of sextortion crime is that it's not just a random call that you get. It may be somebody who starts doing homework 2 months or 3 months before the call. What actually happens is he or she might send you a friend request on any of the social media sites, and you become a friend with him or her. Then he develops that rapport with you, that one fine morning or evening he will say that he wants to talk to you online, and that is where the scam starts actually. And the person we are living in an age of deepfake and AI. The person on the other side of the phone might not be a woman. It might be any other phone that they are using from a porn site, from any explicit video from available on the internet. It might not be a woman. It can be. It's not just the woman are the perpetrators of this crime. Most of the people who have been arrested are men. So men do it. They target you. They make fake profiles of pretending imposing themselves as women. Then they befriend you, and then they call you, and you pick up the call, and you just, in a matter of few seconds, your call is recorded by any of the screen recording apps, and then the blackmail starts. But again, the blackmail continues. In the beginning, you tend to give some money, but eventually when you fall short of money, you don't give money, you don't have money, and then that is where the panic starts. That is how rampant, that's how I explain
Right. Jilani, I want you to hold on to your, this thought, because I want to know more from you on this particular, development. But before that, I want to know from you, Mr. Rao, how can the police be more effective in dealing with this?
Yes, police can be effective with the two regions. One, there should be a specialized investigation cell, which is in Delhi itself is there. In every district of Delhi, there is a cyber crime cell. Every district has it in all 15 districts. Like the police in other states also, they should have a specialized investigators to investigate all these cases, because the complaints are pouring in hundreds in number per day, more than that in one particular district. So to scrutinize all these complaints, they need very efficient staff who are well equipped with this computer knowledge and the cyber knowledge, and especially if they are cyber expert, then that would have been a very good thing for the police to become more strengthened. And secondly, that the public should be made aware that no such video call or anything should be open if it is sent by some unknown person. So this awareness in public, that is also more important, because if this crime is being stopped, it is prevented, that is better than detection. As you rightly said, you know that prevention is better than cure. If we can prevent this crime in the very beginning, so the police should give advertisement through all social medias, TV, newspaper and everything, so that people are more and more informative about such type of criminals, because even so many people doesn't know what is this, and they don't know about what is cyber crime, what is they only have a you can say this phone, mobile phone, which is high-end mobile phone, and they start searching and all these things in internet, and they are being victim of that thing. Finally, every district in state, every district in state must, of all India basis, that they must find out the persons who are involved in this type of crime. They should find out that they scrutinize the modus operandi.
Mr. Rao, I'll come back to you. We, in fact, have to just slip it to a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Pakistani spy agency ISI's sinister plan to target India. Training women to honey trap top civil and military officials. Counter honey trapping ops initiated by India. But gullible victims still caught in the web. Top military intelligence experts break down the web of deception. Colonel Hani Bakshi explains the phenomena of honey trap.
जहां पे भी आपको लगेगा, उनको लगेगा कि there is a person who is susceptible to women, who's making a lot of women friends on the social media. That is where they will make a spoof account and then start luring the person.
Colonel Pavitran Rajan decodes the psyche of the victim and the predator.
But when you go up the chain, no one enforces it to people at the top. That disciplinary regime and the security regime is not enforced at the top. And they usually have a public profile where it is much more easier to approach that person.
A News9 special on how modern technology has added teeth to the ancient spying tactic.
Our story takes you inside Pakistan's honey trap machine.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
वर्ष 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल करेगा.
There is certainly a wall of capital coming into the clean tech, climate tech space, not just in India but across the world.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Today, she is the only smiling leader in Rajasthan. All eyes will be on her moves if the BJP returns to power.
Vasundhara Raje Scindia defied all the odds to become the first woman chief minister of Rajasthan.
She has the uncanny ability of striking rapport with all sections. That's why she is very popular in her constituency, not only in her constituency but in entire Rajasthan.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Welcome back for all of those who have just joined us. This is a special edition of the News9 where we are in fact discussing about a new societal evil, which is a sextortion that mixes, which is self-explanatory, which mixes basically essentially sex with extortion. Towards the end of this show, we'll also tell you how the National Capital Region is emerging as a hub of cyber crimes. These are the two documentaries that have been brilliantly produced by my colleague Ghulam Jilani, who is here with me in the studio. We've been asking, we're also joined by several guests on our show. We have Mr. Ellen Rao, we also have Mr. Amit Dubey and Dr. Mantosh Kumar. I want to come, in fact, I want to ask, Mr. Dubey, I want to know from you, why is it so rampant? Of course, Mr. Rao more or less has already answered it. But why have the law enforcement agencies or the authorities not been able to nip it in the bud? You have been kind of covering it for a long time. Would you be able to present a new version of this particular story?
See, Neha, in India, actually, this law and order is in a state affair. Normally, we work in a jurisdiction which is inside in a state. But cybercrime does not limit its boundaries to any state. It can be operated from anywhere. People are sitting anywhere around the world and just different part of the country itself. Now in India, especially for police, when they go across their states, it is like going to another country. It is like they have to follow different processes, and it actually involves lots of delays as well. So it is equally complicated. And I think that is the reason criminals are taking advantage of it. While cybercrime per se is more of a boundary-less affair, and you need a central agency to counter that. State agencies will not be able to effectively counter cyber crimes because most of the time criminals are sitting out of their state and they'll have to plan that properly. They can't just quickly go all of a sudden, and it happens in real time. Any money which is going out from your state, if it is not recovered in real time, you will never be able to recover it. And just to plan to arrest that person, even if they have identified that person, it requires at least 2 to 3 days of approval process, which is actually helping criminals. and that's why most of these criminals go unarrested, or they take advantage, or even if they are arrested, our legal system has some loopholes. Because of that, they get bail easily. Most of them are teenagers, actually. They are 16, 17, 18 years of age of kids. So we can't even prosecute them under IPCs. There are juvenile system for them. And so all these kind of benefits actually helping them. These crimes the modus operandi are also keep on changing. They are changing every day their operative behaviors. As I said earlier, they were using video calls. Now they are more on AI and other things, and also using spoof calls. They are also creating fake entities of people. There is a website called thispersondoesnotexist.com. You go there and you will find thousands and thousands of faces of real people who do not exist. They look like real humans, or kids, or teenagers, or girls. So these criminals, they are taking profiles from those websites, creating social media identities, and then targeting people who are vulnerable. I think this is the reason it becomes very difficult for police to reach out to them, because there's no entity. Even if you go with face or any such kind of footprint, you will never reach to that person.
So you're essentially dealing with a ghost. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
All right.
And they are using all those technologies to hide them. So as I said, VPNs and anonymous emails like Proton mails and SEC mails, those are very difficult to trace out. So they communicate with those sort of entities. Those are not easy to trace. And also the faces and the voices, everything is manipulated. So it is going to be a bigger challenge in future for law enforcement, I'm sure.
Right. Mr. Dubey, my colleague Jilani has a question for you. In fact, he's been, telling me that he wants to ask you something. So I'm just giving I'm just tossing it over to him.
Amit sir, hi. Jilani this side. So you have been following this. I have been speaking to you for like couple of years about the cybercrime issue. I just wanted you to explain for us, like, there is an important aspect of availability of SIM cards in the market. We have a deep internet penetration. We would be having around 900 million internet users by 2025. Right now the number is 750 million. Correct me if I am wrong. So how important is the role of, anybody can go to any shop and buy a SIM card. Ultimately these criminals, if I am correct, they just make a call and just scrap that SIM away. They don't use that SIM anymore. It's used for one call, and we saw in movies also, we saw in your talks also on the FM. How important is this menace of free, easy availability of SIM cards?
So Jilani ji, actually recently Government of India has also passed a law to restrict the misuse of SIM card. They have not law, actually a guideline for telecom operators, that they cannot sell more than 6-7 SIM cards to one such business house, and otherwise they'll have to go through a strict process. So I think this is something which will definitely restrict the SIM card misuse to a great extent. But these criminals do not need actual SIM card. They can use virtual SIM card. Those are available on internet. And most of these calls that you receive, they have international numbers. So these are not the SIM cards collected or purchased through Indian telecom operators. These are virtual SIM cards. You can use stolen credit cards to purchase it, and you will get it in India. You will get OTPs. You can configure WhatsApp easily on it, or any other mobile app, and then you can make video calls. So I think even if we restrict SIM card misuse, this particular crime will not have much impact because there are other alternatives for people.
Right. Mr. Rao, I want to come to you on that note. You're essentially dealing with a ghost. You have a virtual SIM problem also. You have plenty of SIM cards that you can get your hands on. So how do you deal with such situations?
Definitely, as Mr. Dubey said, that the virtual calls are being used by such type of criminals. Earlier, when the actual SIM cards were used, and we made a complaint to the MHA when I was in service, then the MHA passed a circulation that no SIM card without verification of address should be issued. And if some companies found that, they will be heavily fined for that. After that, that menace was stopped, and then now this virtual SIM card process and VoIP calls, you mean say internet calls, maximum calls by the international number that are available. And this is the real crux of the problem of Delhi police. That Delhi police and even all police department in our country, that they are not in a position to apprehend these persons because of their calls are being from international level, and they are sitting either in some Nuhu area, other areas itself, remote areas in country, but they are using other numbers of international level. So this is real estate. But nowadays we are also trying to do R&D, research and analysis about to catch these criminals in some other ways, and these policies are being made, and we are also going to find out some new ways and means, because the criminal always go ahead with the police department. That's the problem. That the police has to be more faster than the criminals. That is to be a real mindset in our police department to be changed for that.
Right.
So
right.
Yes.
Right. Dr. Kumar, I want to know from you, what would you suggest people should do in order to get rid of sharam wali baat hai stigma?
So most importantly, the gentleman here, Mr. Rao and Mr. Dubey, has mentioned something very important, that you are not a accused person here. You are the victim here, and it's your right to seek out help. It's your right to speak about it. You have been victimized by certain fraudsters. You have been, if not lured, sometimes just by mistake, you answered a call. So it is something which is a very innocent mistake that you made. You have to speak about it. You have to not let it happen, or kind of put it under the carpet and it just grows and grows. So you have to speak about it. There's no harm in talking about it. The more you talk about it, the less of shame and guilt you will experience. The more support you will get from people. Yes, if you tell this to people who are not of your best interest, they might make fun of it. But then that's the point. You have to tell this to someone whom you can trust, whom you can share with without the fear of judgment, without the fear of being ridiculed upon. The most important is the nearest and dearest ones, the family members. And if you feel you are not able to talk to them, then definitely reach out to a health professional, a mental health professional. Or if you feel that the symptoms are increasing in intensity, then maybe a psychiatrist here also is helpful.
Right, right, Dr. Kumar. Gulam, I want to know from you, who is the victim? Could it be anyone?
See, as our worthy panels are also saying, it can be anyone. It's like hit and try. They target one victim at a time. If that works for them, it's okay. If it doesn't work for them, they try for another victim. It can be a young man, it can be a child, it can be a woman, it can be an elderly man. There are cases, as you said, there are cases where senior citizens have been targeted. And
many such cases.
Yeah, there are cases which I mentioned earlier. There was an ACP in Karnataka police who was targeted, even the ACP. There are cases which Amit Dubey said in the documentary, 150 police cops were targeted in 2022 from UP only. And there is a case of a former lawmaker last year in Karnataka who lodged a complaint with the police, who said he got a call from a random number on WhatsApp, and when he picked the call up, what he saw was that the woman was exposing herself. So these are issues that can target anyone. It's not any particular age or any particular class in the society that is targeted. But yes, it is increasing rampantly with the increase in the internet penetration in our country and elsewhere, and it is becoming more dangerous because of this AI and deepfake thing that is emerging. As I said earlier, it's not just, it cannot be a person on the other side of the phone. It can be just an image, just a video from another phone. It cannot be a person. It can be just a computer generated thing. Another thing is, as I was asking Amit Dubey, internet is so cheap in India that everybody has a phone. 900 people having internet access by 2025 gives these criminals an upper hand. And as we say, criminals are few steps ahead than the law enforcement agencies. I'm not saying law enforcement agencies have failed, but it's difficult for them because earlier
many of people belonging from the law enforcement agencies, many of these officers are themselves the victims, as we mentioned. But Gulam, I have a lot more to discuss. As you mentioned, there is an AI factor, there's also deep fake factors, but unfortunately we're short of time. We leave you with this particular documentary that tells us how the National Capital Region is emerging as a hub of cyber crimes. Take a look.
Hello.
Hello.
I am Rahul Sharma from Delhi. मैं SBI से बात कर रहा हूँ। आपका ये जो कार्ड है ये ब्लॉक हो गया है। इसको अनब्लॉक कराने के लिए आपके पास में एक फ़ोन में OTP आया होगा, इसको कंफर्म करा दीजिए।
ओके, एक मिनट। 0
9 5 4
1
6 आपका कार्ड चालू हो जाएगा।
There has been an inherent tendency here that people here in Mewat were earlier also involved in some kind of cheating on different platforms. There's a famous name called Tatlu Baji.
Tri-junction of 2-3 states. These criminals easily flit across.
Bharatpur is a hotspot of cyber criminals.
It has become infamous of late and has earned this bad name of Jamtara 2.0.
The actual masterminds, they are not in India. They are operating it from out of India. So actually it has emerged from Jamtara as we know, but now beyond Jamtara there are close to 35 hotspots that we have identified across India. And most of these hotspots are the border states. They touch 2 to 3 states from that particular location. If I can name a few, Delhi NCR is the hub of these kind of cyber crimes. Most of these cyber crimes are originated from this region, especially Bharatpur, then Nuh, then Alwar, then Mewat, then Mathura. Only from NCR, 54% cybercrime is emerging from NCR region. And if you go by the districts, then Bharatpur is leading out of all these different districts. I think close to 15 to 16% cybercrime is emerging from Bharatpur now. And then we have other districts like Nuh and Mathura, which is having 14% to 12% cybercrime. And then Alwar, which is again 12%.
These have a typical topography. And this topography enables the cyber criminals to easily hide. And it's thickly populated, and there are pockets of villages where persons can easily hide. And there is an ecosystem in this whole area where these people have been committing normal crimes of fraud. Now they have smoothly transited into cybercrime, and this has happened because of their enterprising skills, and it's very easy for them to they've learned this trick very fast.
3 साल हो गए पढ़ाई को छोड़े, इस काम को होने लग गया 2 साल हो गया। ग्रुप होता है 5-6 लोगों का, मजबूरी में करना पड़ रहा है। यहाँ पे कोई फैक्ट्री वगैरह भी नहीं है और कोई धंधा भी नहीं है, कुछ काम नहीं है, इसीलिए मजबूरी में करना पड़ता है। मैम माई इज नेम मैसन श्रीवास्तव फ्रॉम दिल्ली। आपने किसी लड़की के साथ में वीडियो कॉल पे सेक्स चैट किया था क्या? वीडियो अप्रूवल के लिए आपका यूट्यूब से अप्रूवल आया है, आपको ये मैटर क्लोज कराना है या नहीं कराना? यूट्यूब से बात करेंगे तो उससे बोलेंगे आपका जो वीडियो है इस पर कुछ अमाउंट चार्ज लगा हुआ है, आपको ये पे करना पड़ेगा, तब आपका वीडियो डिलीट हो जाएगा और अब मैं इधर से आपका मैटर क्लोज कर दूंगा।
The other scams like Facebook Bazaar fraud, in which they are uploading pictures of mobiles, bikes, cars, etc. on the Facebook market, and they are basically giving lucrative offers to the potential victims, and in turn the potential victims itself calls on the WhatsApp or the number given in those ads, and thereby gets cheated on the pretext of courier money, transportation charges, and etc. And but the thing never gets delivered. We made a list of all those accounts. We shared it with the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, and they could provide us a list of 28,000 complaints which are linked to those accounts, to those mobile numbers, and the total amount of the cyber fraud came to about 100 crore rupees.
Total amount of cyber crime that has happened in Rajasthan is to around 239 crores. And we have been able to block 26 crores in the banks. That ultimately the victims will get. In Mewat region and especially in Bharatpur region, small villages, they have put up ATMs right in their villages. So they immediately go to these ATMs and withdraw money. And they have all these fake accounts, fake ATM cards. It's a well-oiled system that they have developed.
कितने कंप्लेन आ गए आज?
सर 10 कंप्लेन आ गए।
इनके बैंक्स को कॉल करो, है ना, इनको ब्लॉक करो अमाउंट। जिनका भी होल्ड हो जाए उनको फोन करके बता देना कि पैसा रुक गया, आ जाएगा तुम्हारे अकाउंट में। कहाँ है लोकेशन, कहाँ आ रही है रामवीर? मथुरा के पास?
What kind of development has happened?
I'll suggest you go there in the daytime and just observe yourself. You will see that how much they are frauding the country and how much development.
Can you please name those villages?
There are some famous villages like Gaudi, Chorgadi, Gadi Mewat, Bilang, the area of Kama Tehsil and Jurehra Pahadi Tehsil. It's like kind of mini Jamtara. They spend it on homes, their homes, vehicles and lifestyle change. Just like upgradation of lifestyle, sudden upgradation of lifestyle. You could have seen in areas like Noida, Gurgaon, what happens when some sudden upgradation of lifestyle happens without any extra work. So they spend on vehicles, they spend on watches, clothes and rings and homes, houses.
Where are they getting access to these SIM cards, mobile phones, or bank accounts? How are they getting access to?
See, the majority links that they have disclosed in their interrogation is from the Bharatpur, specifically the village Gamdi, Jurheda. In these villages, there are people who are basically activating these online bank accounts through deceit, through playing deceit on people on the pretext of jobs. And the SIM cards also are being brought from all over India through truck drivers, through even their, some of them have been married to Assamese and the Bengalis women, and they are bringing the fake SIMs. So there are different people have devised ways to find out these fake SIMs, and through those villages it is being distributed to all the other villages.
These people who are in Jamtara or in Nu or in Bharatpur, basically these are hired?
Yes, so they are working at different level. Most of these masterminds of this crime, they go to such places. They are reaching out to Jamtara, they are reaching out to Devghar, they are reaching out to Alwar, Mewat, Nu, identifying these pockets in such a way. Sometimes they even engage them through social media channels, through WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord channels. We have identified a group of people who was traveling Nigeria for training, and most of them were from this region, Mewat and Alwar. So this is something which has reached to international level now. People are being sent to different countries for the trainings and to learn new technology so that they can conduct it at a larger scale. It has become an international game. It's no more Jamtara limited crime. It is eventually linked to crypto crimes. It is eventually linked to bitcoins. It is eventually linked to all kind of drug rackets and all.
1-1.5 साल पहले मेरे को कॉल आई, वो था अननोन नंबर, उस पर लिखा था अननोन नंबर। उन्होंने मेरे को कॉल की और मेरे को कहते हैं कि भैया सर आपकी लॉटरी लगी है 25 lakhs की। मैंने बोला ठीक है, तो कहते हैं कि आप अपना सारा बायोडाटा, नेम, ईमेल एड्रेस, योर होम एड्रेस, सब कुछ आपने दे दो तो हम आपके अकाउंट नंबर में डाल देंगे। तो मैंने सब कुछ दे दिया उनको। उन्होंने मेरे को कहा कि आप पहले हमें 8,000 रुपया हमारे अकाउंट में डालो, कुछ पेपर वर्क है, कुछ फॉर्मेलिटीज हैं वो पूरी करनी। तो मैंने 8,000 रुपया ऑनलाइन पे कर दिया उनको। तो पूरे 10 मिनट बाद जब मैंने पे किया 8,000, तो मेरे को फोन आया। मेरे को कहते हैं कि सर हाँ आपका प्रोग्रेस में है, आपका जो भी है लॉटरी वगैरह लगी है, तो आप ना एक काम करना, आपके फोन पे OTP आएगा 2 मिनट में, आप OTP बता देना तो आपके अकाउंट में पैसे आ जाएंगे। बोला ठीक है, OTP दिया, उन्होंने फोन कट कर दिया। ठीक मेरे को 30 सेकंड के बाद मैसेज आया, योर अकाउंट हैज बीन डेबिटेड 5,68,000 rupees.
The solution to my mind is that first thing is public awareness, like I said. It is also the responsibility of the mobile operators that whenever they are giving SIM cards, they need to be very, very stringent on whom they are issuing, selling these SIM cards to, because number of times fake SIMs are taken on fake names.
We need to train our forces in handling cybercrime so that we act fast, we act prompt, and we nab these criminals in each and every case. That will definitely help. Also, the 1930 helpline, if we motivate citizens to report the cases immediately in the golden hour period, definitely that would help blocking these amounts in the account itself.
अरेस्ट हो चुके पैसों से सब छूट जाते हैं। पुलिस पूरी कार्रवाई नहीं करती है, छोड़ देती है पैसों से।
कितने दिन रहते हैं पुलिस के पास?
सुबह गया, शाम को आ गया पुलिस, पैसे से तो सब काम सॉल्व हो जाते हैं। हेलो, आपका कार्ड अनब्लॉक हो गया है।
Since the last 2 years, Khalistani terror groups are threatening Indian diplomats in Canada, US, UK and Australia. Investigation